surprised to see, like, when I heard about the whole new branding and stuff. What happened? What was the catalyst for that
Are
happening?
you getting this?
So I'm
That's
just
great.
really
I love that.
curious.
The whole reason she's here today, because we're rolling it out,
Uh-huh.
and my objective is to explain it to everybody of the reason why. So a lot of people are like, oh, you're getting rid of the cross. Like, what's going on? Like, what's happening? So we knew that when we started the company, that like my mindset was small. It was just like, hey, I just need to support my family type of thing. And so it was very much so like, what do we need right now? As we've grown and as our vision's grown and our goals have grown, we need to take it outside of our area.
Okay.
And so the Painter Inc. is such a years ago I was working for a trademark lawyer, and he was like, if you want to get big, you'll never be able to trademark the Painter Inc. And I asked him why. I started asking him a lot of questions, and he said the Painter Inc. is just too bland. Like, it's too, the painter, there's going to be so many. And so then you Google it, and there's
All kinds of versions of that,
thousands
right?
of
Yeah.
versions of it. And so that initially started our stuff. When we created the goal, our goal is to be the largest independently owned painting company in America, right? And the reason for that, what we want to do is we want to have an orphanage with 300 kids, 50 people that take care of it, and all of it funded out of our company. Well, in order to achieve that goal, we have to come outside of our area. In order to go outside of our area, we know we were going to need a trademarked name that we could do that in. And so we're growing so much right now that it's like, now's the time before we go into, so when we launch Richmond on February 10th.
Okay. I was just
we're
gonna
launching,
ask, where are you now? So.
Williamsburg, Norfolk, and now
Okay.
Richmond, February 10th. But in Richmond, we'll actually launch there as Showstopper Painting.
Okay.
And so that'll be all the vehicles and everything going up there, and all the signage will be Richmond, will be Showstopper Painting. But that's the reason why.
That's
it's because
awesome.
we're growing. We got a huge vision. We want the orphanage. We're going to get an orphanage, and excited about it, but need to change it all up. And so now's the time to change it. Change it now before you get
Now
to too
I'm
many
curious
locations.
about the backstory for that. Are you going to have that anywhere? Like, why an orphanage? What is, what's
So
the
back
story?
in 2002, as an 18-year-old, I was invited to go to our church. I don't remember exactly how it happened, but one of our pastors was like, we've got a connection in the Philippines. He had a motocross guy in the States, and who used to be professional, had gotten saved, and was like, I want to start doing this and like attract crowds. You give the gospel to them. And so they linked up, and this pastor was like, let's go to the Philippines. I don't even know exactly where it came from. And so as young guys, that was a missions trip they invited us on. We went out there, and we just got to see the poverty and like all the little kids whose parents have died. Like, I literally saw it with my own eyes, like 7-year-olds taking care of 3-year-olds, literally living in cardboard boxes. And it broke my heart. I was like, oh my gosh, this is like, what can I do about this? So since then, I've always had this vision of like, what would happen if I could have an orphanage, right? And, but I never talked to anybody about it. I never made it a thing. It was always in my mind. Well, 2 years ago, or a year and a half ago, we came across this company called Cardone Ventures. They're a consultation company, and they just teach you really about the business aspects, how to grow your business, and they're incredible. Well, one of the things he said in one of the meetings was, if your goals aren't so big that you don't know how to achieve them, then you're robbing the world of what you were created for. And I was like, that's me. I'm robbing the world for what I've been wanting to do, because I can't dream. It's getting me emotional. But
Right.
because I can't dream big enough for what I was created to do. And so from then on, I started dreaming these huge goals, and I started telling people. And so for me, it was an orphanage, 300 kids, 50 people to take care of it, the building built by us, the land bought by us, and everything that those kids need supplied by our company. So then you start talking about it, and you start blasting it out there, and then you like all of this stuff. It's like the world, like the Lord set this whole thing up where it's like, once you start putting your goals out there, people start coming into your life that want to help you achieve them. I didn't even know it, but my next door neighbors is like, we did orphanages, but we did them as houses. So their business has 5 houses right now where they support what they call the family, the husband and wife that takes care of 4 or 5 kids, and their company supports everything with that. And I'm just like, So once you just start talking about these big, massive goals, it's like I literally to this day still have no idea how we're going to do it, but I know we will. And this is part of the process of that moving in that direction.
That is
And so
awesome.
that's where it all came from. It's like have big goals so big they scare you, because if they're not big enough, you're limiting yourself of what you were created to do in this world. And those with big goals and big belief lids, John Maxwell, the belief lid, right? Those with the big belief lids are the ones that achieve the most for mankind, because they don't limit their own selves. They don't minimize what they're actually capable of. And we get this negative thought process in our minds where we're like, I can't do that, or oh, that's not me, or I would never, or I could never. Instead of saying like, I can do that. I just need to figure it out. I don't know how yet, but I know I'm capable. Once you start talking to yourself like that and you raise your own belief lid, things start to happen in your life. You know, we are the co-creators of our world, right? If all the time you're like, oh, I can't, well, that's what you attract. Like, you'll never be able to, because you can't, right? The power of your own mind. I don't know if you guys are believers, but like the Bible says, as a man thinketh, so is he. Like everything starts with your thoughts. What you think is what you say is what you do, and what you do becomes your legacy. So your legacy starts with your thought process, and that's where all this is coming from.
Awesome.
It's like, so.
I'm glad I asked.
I'm glad you asked
I was
too.
so surprised when I saw the changes of like, wait a minute, after all these years, what happened?
I know, it's crazy. Like 18 years under this brand,
Yeah.
and people think I'm crazy, but I'm like, we've got
No, it's
huge
great.
goals.
It
You got to do
looks
crazy
great.
things.
I saw what they were wrapping out there, and
Yeah.
it's looking really good.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love it. Thank you for that. Thank you for
Yes,
asking that. I appreciate
Yeah,
that.
I'm glad to
I
finally
love
be-
telling.